It's really hard to put into words what this feels like, but after a really long, slow, and stressful process, my book, Friend of Mine, is finally here in hand. And first and foremost, this would not be possible without everyone's support. All of you that pre-ordered a copy of the book, that told a friend, this would not have been possible without that. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so, so much. I originally released this project in 2014. It's a collection of photos from 2013 and 2014. It was my first real personal project, something that I really put myself into, and I wanted to essentially show people through photography what it is that I think of when I think of my hometown, the place that I've lived my entire life, and the place that's really shaped me. And after putting it out in 2014 with the resources I had available, I always wanted to revisit this, do a proper second edition, and really just throw everything I've got at it and really deliver this in the way that I always dreamed of. And thanks to you guys, I have finally been able to do that. It's a hardcover with a black linen wrap, silver foil stamped on the front and the spine with a tipped in image, and the photos themselves have all been printed on 100-pound paper, duotone offset printing. This was a long process to get everything exactly how we wanted it to look, and the timeline for what we initially thought this was going to be versus what it's turned into is very, very different. But we felt it was necessary to, go through everything and make sure everything was done right, even if that meant delaying the process. First, it was a matter of getting the paper correct. The initial test press that we had, it felt too thin, it felt too flat, it wasn't holding contrast properly, and I didn't want to go through all of this effort of revisiting the work, changing up the sequencing, adding new photos, removing old photos. I didn't want to go through all of that and then just half-ass on the execution. I wanted to really make this something that people could feel good about purchasing. And after we figured out the paper issue, then it was a matter of getting the duotone to actually print correctly versus what we had in mind in our edits. And there was a lot of going back and forth with the printers. We had multiple test presses and trying to get everything dialed in. Then it came to the actual binding and the cover and everything else. And we had issues with the materials and the supply of those materials, things being shipped that were essentially the wrong type, and so that things didn't match, and it felt like we were just hitting every single possible production error or issue that we possibly could, and it was incredibly discouraging. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I took it pretty hard because I had so many people pre-order a copy of this book, and I felt like I was letting people down by, things that were completely out of our control. And when I say our, I'm talking about myself and one of my close friends, Kevin O'Mara, who has helped me from the very start of revisiting this project. He was the first person I went to where I just said, I need your help because I know you know what it is I'm trying to do. And Kevin has an incredible mind for photo books and just the entire process. And so we have gone through so many different hurdles and issues and troubleshooting, and these were all things that were out of our control, but again, I wanted to actually deliver on something. For that many people to pre-order a copy of the book, I take it very, very serious. And so I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who was so patient during the process of this. It has taken so much longer than we ever anticipated. This was a very, very big learning experience for both of us. So next time, for the next book and the next project, we will definitely be taking everything we learned here into consideration. And yeah, it's just been a really stressful but educational process for sure. But all that to say, now that we actually have the finished product in hand, I am so, so happy with how this turned out. The photos were printed exactly how I had in mind. I wanted the contrast to be just right. We wanted to go with a proper paper that could actually hold the finished look. It's really hard sometimes to get things to translate from screen to print, and this was one of the slowest parts of this process to get it dialed in exactly right. But now that it's in front of me, it's exactly what I had in mind when I wanted to reprint this. The paper, the cover materials, the embossing, everything is just exactly how I wanted it to be. And there were times where I was just thinking, this thing is never gonna come together exactly how I want, but it feels really, really good to be able to say we finally did it. So the books are currently being delivered in multiple shipments to Kevin in Minneapolis, and I am basically going to be taking a trip to Minneapolis to sign every single copy. It's an edition of 1,750, so I am going to be signing a lot of books and then packaging up everything and shipping everything out directly from Minneapolis where the books are being delivered. Nathan is going to be tagging along with me, so he's going to film behind the scenes basically of the entire trip. That way we can show you guys that part of the process, and it's going to be a very personal and probably emotional trip for me to be able to do something like this. It's just something I never thought I would be in any position to do. So I want to be able to bring you guys along for that and just kind of share that experience with you. The rest of the book should all be delivered by the end of the month. So likely the first weekend or the second weekend of April at the very latest. The first weekend is Easter weekend and people have, family things going on. So it might be the following weekend, basically taking a Friday through Monday trip to go all the way to Minneapolis and, knock everything out there. We have to, kind of fit this in everyone else's schedule as well. But I'm really, really, really looking forward to that part of the process. I'm trying to imagine in my head what 1,750 books look like, and I'm having a little bit of trouble being able to visualize exactly how many books that is. So it is finally here. There are still some copies left, so if you are interested in purchasing a copy of this book, you can still pre-order. I'll put a link down below. International shipping and everything, so no matter where you are, we will get this to you. Again, just thank you guys so much for believing in this project, for supporting this project. I really can't thank you enough. I would not have been able to do something like this without your support. So again, thank you. I'm sure I've already shared in this video at some point, a few close-ups. I'm not gonna do an entire flip through of the book because I want this to be in people's hands before I actually do something like that. But likely after all of the books have been shipped out and everything, I will sit down and film an entire flip through of the book, maybe with no talking at all, just so you can see the book in total. But we do have a fun video planned to sort of revisit all of the places where I shot these photos. And I can kind of bring the book along with me as we drive around, and I can kind of show you, maybe what things have changed and also just sort of what was going on when I shot some of the photos. So it'll be a little trip down memory lane, so I'm excited for that one. But thank you guys again so much. Again, if you're interested in purchasing a copy, a friend of mine, this is the last and final printing of the book. There won't be a third edition or a second printing of anything. This is it. So if you're interested, links are down below. Thank you guys so much. I love you all very much. I'll see you next time.